Welcome back to the deep dive. Our job is to take that confusing pile of search results, all those contradictory articles you find online, and really boil it down into something clear, something you can actually use. And today, we're tackling, honestly, one of the most frustrating examples of name confusion in the app world. I'm talking about the BlackHole app. If you've ever gone looking for one specific tool called BlackHole and ended up finding like three completely different things, doing totally different jobs on different operating systems, well, you know exactly what we mean.
Yeah.
So our mission today is simple. We're going to break down the four distinct pieces of software that all share this name. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which black hole someone means just based on the platform and what it actually does.
It's such a great example for a deep dive, really, because it just highlights how critical context is online. What's fascinating here is how one name, especially one as evocative as black hole.
Right. It sounds big, important.
Exactly. How it can refer to such vastly different tools. We're talking everything from, well, basically defunct hobby projects to stuff that's like essential plumbing for professionals. You almost have to stop thinking of it as a brand name and more like a confusing tag.
Totally. You can't just say, oh, I use black hole. It needs like a whole explanatory sentence afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's unpack this. Let's start where the name probably got its most widespread, maybe initial recognition. In the mobile world, specifically music, the open source BlackHole music player. Yeah, for a good stretch of time, especially if you were on Android, that was BlackHole. It really took off because it's solved a huge problem for people. Getting high quality music streaming and download features without, the ads or the monthly fees. And it wasn't just some bare bones player either. Our sources really emphasized that its appeal was tied to the quality it offered. We're talking the ability to search and stream at 320 kilobits per second, which back then put it right up there with the paid tiers from Spotify, Apple Music, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. That high fidelity was a major draw. But I think its real killer feature, was the integration. It wasn't just about playing local files. It let you import entire playlists directly from services like Spotify and YouTube.
Ah, right.
Think about how convenient that is if you're trying to sort of consolidate where you listen without starting from zero.
Yeah, rebuilding playlists is the worst. And it had all those little premium touches people expect now, right?
Right.
Dark mode, sleep timers,
Yeah.
support for different languages, lyrics.
All the nice to haves.
But the one feature that keeps popping up in reviews, even now when people talk about it, is the downloading. It lets you actually download songs for proper offline playback, and crucially, it did it with all the correct ID3 tags.
Yes, the ID3 tags, that's the metadata, right? The track title, artist, album cover, everything that lets your player actually organize your music properly. Without good tags, you just end up with a folder full of, gibberish file names.
Exactly.
So the fact that an open source ad-free player pulled that off, that level of detail, that's why people loved it.
Okay, so that was the appeal. But what's the status now? Because if you look for it...
Wait, that's the key thing for you listening now. If you search for this specific black hole today, you'll find it's mostly talked about in the past tense. The official open source development, the main code repository online, it basically just stopped.
It wasn't necessarily like a big legal takedown or anything dramatic. It seems more like the classic problem many successful free projects face.
Yeah.
Just the sheer amount of work needed to keep up. APIs change constantly, Android updates break things.
Right.
And keeping it functional just became too much for the volunteer developers, it seems. It's kind of a relic now.
Yeah.
A testament to great open source ambition, but not really usable for new folks.
Yeah, that makes sense. Building the cool thing is one part, but keeping it running forever is another beast entirely. Okay, so that's one black hole down. The much-loved, but now mostly historical, Android music player.
Now, prepare for a pretty sharp turn. We're shifting completely from, everyday mobile entertainment to something way more technical, professional infrastructure, really. And this is where that shared name gets really confusing. This is the black hole that probably trips up most people doing a desktop search today. We're talking about version 2, a macOS specific tool. It's a virtual audio loopback driver, okay? Virtual audio loopback driver. That sounds technical. For someone listening who doesn't, live inside audio software all day, can you break down what that actually does in simple terms?
Sure. Imagine the apps on your Mac are like separate rooms in a house.
Okay.
And you want to take the sound playing from the TV in room A. Let's say that's Spotify or a YouTube video, and you want to send that sound directly into the microphone in room B. Maybe that's Zoom for a meeting or OBS for streaming or even your music recording software.
Okay.
Normally, your Mac doesn't really let you do that easily. It's designed to take sound in from a real microphone and send sound out to your speakers or headphones. It keeps those paths separate. So BlackHole acts like a virtual audio cable inside your computer. It creates a fake input device and a fake output device at the same time. You tell Spotify, send your sound out to the BlackHole device, and then you tell Zoom, listen for sound coming in from the BlackHole device, as if it were a microphone.
Gotcha. So it connects the sound between apps internally.
Hmm.
But why do you need a separate tool for that? Why isn't that just something macOS does automatically? It seems like a basic function connecting two apps on the same computer.
Ah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Mhm.
Standard operating systems, macOS included, they're generally built to prioritize stability and, well, security.
Mhm.
And part of that involves how they handle audio internally. They often use something called buffering.
Okay.
And that buffering introduces a tiny delay, latency.
Yeah.
Now, for just listening to music, that tiny delay doesn't matter. But if you're doing anything in real time, like live streaming, where your voice needs to sync perfectly with game audio, or music production where timing is everything, that latency is a complete disaster. So the absolute core feature, the whole point of this BlackHole driver, is its ability to pass that audio from app A to app B with virtually zero additional latency.
I see. So the zero latency isn't just a nice bullet point. It's like the fundamental requirement for the job it does. If your game sound is half a second behind your voice on a stream, it's unusable.
Exactly. It's non-negotiable for pros. Think about podcasters using OBS to record or stream, right? They need to mix their mic audio with system sounds, maybe music or sound effects. Or musicians routing audio out of their main recording software, their DAW, digital audio workstation, into another program for effects or monitoring. BlackHole is like the invisible plumbing that makes all that possible without delay.
Wow.
It solves a really tricky technical problem that the operating system itself kind of deliberately sidesteps for broader stability reasons. The difference between this BlackHole and the old music player, I mean, it's just night and day. Different universe, really.
Yeah, phenomenal contrast. Okay, so that's the macOS audio driver, the Pro Tool.
Oh.
Let's move on to our third and fourth versions, which take us back to mobile, but they're purely utilities this time. Again, often on different app stores, just to add another layer of confusion. So, BlackHole number 3. This one you'll typically find on the iOS App Store for iPhones and iPads, and it's pitched as a social media content saver and private browser.
Right. This version is aimed at a user who has two very modern concerns: grabbing online content easily and doing it privately. It's basically an all-in-one tool designed to let you save videos, photos, maybe even text posts from various social media platforms, kind of the digital scrapbook function, you could say. Okay, so saving stuff. But you mentioned privacy.
Yeah, that's a big part of its pitch. The sources emphasize things like, 100% private and secure browsing, a built-in ad blocker. It's targeting users who are worried about being tracked online, who want to browse and save stuff without leaving a digital footprint or being profiled. It tries to be this kind of secure, walled garden for consuming and organizing social media content.
Gotcha. So it sounds quite feature-rich, actually. Saving, browsing, privacy tools, organizing.
Yep.
A fairly complex app.
Definitely. Multiple functions bundled together.
Okay.
Okay, so hold that thought. Complex, multifunction utility on iOS. So let's contrast that with the fourth and final BlackHole app. And this fourth one is often found over on the Google Play Store for Android. It's billed as a video editor for sound removal. And yeah, it's basically the polar opposite in terms of design philosophy compared to the iOS one.
How so? Is it also doing browsing or saving, or is sound removal just one feature?
Nope. This one is the absolute definition of a single-purpose utility. You see a lot of these on Android, right? Apps that do one tiny job really well. Its only function is to take a video clip you give it, strip out the audio track completely, and give you back a silent video file, quickly and easily.
That's it.
That's it. You load the video, tap a button, it processes, and boom, silent copy. End of story. No browser, no downloader, no complex features.
Huh. So why would someone need just that?
Speed and simplicity, mainly. Maybe you want to post a quick video clip to social media, but the background noise is awful, or you just want it silent. Or perhaps you want to use the visual part of a clip in, say, another editing project, but you don't want the original audio getting in the way. This tool just does that one specific task super fast, no fuss.
Okay, wow. So the same name covers a defunct music player, a critical pro audio tool, a complex privacy suite, and a dead simple video muter.
That's the whole confusing picture, yeah. A defunct Android music player, an essential macOS audio driver, an iOS content saver and private browser, and a simple Android video sound remover.
So if someone just says BlackHole app,
Yeah.
you absolutely have to ask which platform or what does it do?
Exactly. The context, which operating system are we talking about, and what is the user actually trying to achieve, that's everything. If you're talking to a streamer or musician on a Mac, they mean the audio driver, guaranteed. If you're talking to a casual Android user, they might be, well, fondly remembering the music player, or maybe they just use that little utility to silence a video clip.
So what's the big takeaway here for you, the listener? I guess it's that even the simplest names in the tech world can hide these huge differences in what something actually is and who it's for. We've gone from this, like, ambitious open source dream to this piece of almost invisible zero latency professional plumbing, and then ended up with these two totally different mobile utility apps.
Yeah. And it does make you wonder, doesn't it? Thinking about how critical that macOS driver is for professionals, how technically specific it is, and how beloved that music player was back in its day. It raises a question that goes beyond just this one name.
Like what?
Well, what's the next really useful, maybe even essential tool, maybe some piece of infrastructure or a productivity app you rely on every day that's going to end up with some super simple, potentially confusing name?
Yeah. What vital tool are you using right now that you constantly have to explain? Specify the platform or the developer, just so your colleagues know which one you actually mean. That constant need for clarification, that ambiguity, maybe that's the real black hole we're all dealing with in this flood of digital information.